I'm glad you returned. Something terrible has happened.
Let me guess, the free mine has been assaulted by the guards from the old camp. Nobody saw them coming?
Hang on. How? But of course. You found out about it in the old camp. Gorn arrived here just before you did. What could have caused Gomez to dare to take such an aggressive step? He should be aware that such a heinous act can only provoke war.
The old mine collapsed after water seeped in.
Collapsed? Of course. Then the whole thing makes sense. Gomez has his back to the wall. He's more dangerous than ever. Now that he doesn't have anything left to lose, he'll do anything.
Gomez has had all of the Magicians of Fire killed.
Had them killed? Why in Beliar's name would he do a thing like that?
They were against the attack on the free mine and opposed Gomez.
Then we're all doomed. Without the other 6 magicians, we'll never be able to control the concentrated power of the massive ore mound. But in spite of that, I thank you for passing this dangerous message on to me.
I have been exiled from the old camp because I have helped you.
You don't belong to the old camp any longer? Then I welcome you to our community.
Does that mean the mercenaries will take me on?
Talk to Lee. He'll see to it. Then come back to me.
When you sent me to the Magicians of Fire, you mentioned there was somebody.
Well, I had hoped we could make it without his help, but the way things are developing...
Who is he?
All right. Many, many years ago.
Give me the shortened version, please.
Be patient. Well, when we, the 12 magicians, created the barrier back then, our magic powers were directed and controlled by a 13th magician.
A 13th magician? I thought there were only 12.
Most people who did not experience the early days of the colony believe that. This 13th magician was our leader. All this took place before we were divided into the circles of fire and water, but he left the old camp, which was once the only camp of the colony.
What is this 13th magician called?
His name is Xardas. Hardly anybody remembers the old stories about him. The ones who do just call him the Necromancer.
Why did he leave the old camp?
He started to investigate the invocation of undead and magical creatures. Gomez was not the only one who began to worry. Most of the other magicians opposed him as well, and his unholy deeds.
What happened then?
Unlike Gomez, he was no butcher, so he avoided the conflict and left.
Where is this magician today?
He lives in seclusion, in his tower in the middle of the Orc land. That's just about the southernmost point of the colony.
I'll make my way to Xardas and ask him for help.
He's the only one that can help us now. If he knows no way out or doesn't want to help us,
he will.
There is one other problem.
A problem?
Yes. Over the years, we've tried to get in touch with Xardas several times, but it looks like he prefers to remain undisturbed.
What does that mean?
None of the messengers ever returned from his tower. You'll have to find a way to get past his creatures.
Looks like this is going to be interesting. How will I get past his creatures?
If I knew that, I would tell you. I'd advise you to do some research in our library. Maybe you'll find something in the old books about the strengths and weaknesses of magically invoked creatures.
I'll rummage through the library, and don't worry. I'll be back.
May you return in one piece.
I better keep out of it.
Mate, hello.
I want to acquire magic writings.
There must be something about that story after all. I would like to be in his shoes though, because but keep it to yourself. Let's talk about something else instead. I better keep out of it. I thought that had been cleared up ages ago. As long as I'm not involved.
It was obvious that there would be trouble ahead.
There was a time when things were done
Let's
very
talk
different.
about
May I
something
pass
else
through
instead.
here?
That's not really my problem.
Hold on, who's talking to me? You are talking to me? How did you get into my head? You are what? The servant of your master? You seem to be a creature from hell. You want me to be silent? Is your master's name perhaps Xardas? Oh, right, so names are not important. Okay, I'll just assume that this here is the Tower of Xardas. I have to talk to your master. Me? Unworthy? What kind of test? Ah, I understand. Whoever wants to talk to your master must prove worthy first. Hold on, what was that? The proof? Victory over what? Victory over the elements? Stone? Ice? Fire? Here's the heart of a stone golem. What? Right! Worthy proofs! Missing? 2 are still missing? Is this heart of an ice golem the proof? Duality? The second proof? 1 is still remaining? What about this heart of a fire golem? Perfection? I'm worthy? If that's the case, I'd like to speak to your master now. Counter evidence? What kind of counter evidence? A rune? A rune for me? Well, then I'll accept the rune of teleportation as a sign of worthiness. Mortal? Who? Me? Okay, I'm on my way.
Who dares to disturb me in my studies?
My name is...
I don't wish to know your name. It's insignificant. All that matters is that you're the first person in years to have solved my golem's riddles.
Have there been any other visitors?
Not many. And when they began to annoy me, I confronted them with one of my supernatural creatures.
You enjoy being on your own, don't you? I was sent by Saturus. We need your help. The magicians of water plan to use their big ore mound.
The ore mound is not the solution.
It isn't?
No.
All the magicians of fire are dead. Gomez had them assassinated.
That does not surprise me. Those foolish barbarian butchers in the castle, especially Gomez, were never to be trusted. Caristo and the other magicians elected their own hangman when they helped Gomez to usurp the power.
The so-called sleeper is said to be an evil archdemon. That's what the Brotherhood in the swamp found out. Now the magicians of water believe that everybody in the colony is in great danger.
There is a greater danger than anyone within the barrier could possibly imagine.
If the explosion of the ore mound doesn't avert the great danger,
Forget the ore mound. Its power won't open the barrier. If Caristo and Xardas hadn't wasted their time fighting over foolish and vain issues throughout the past years, they'd all know what I know now.
which is,
None of the 12 magicians ever stopped to wonder why the formation of the barrier got beyond their control, or why it assumed such gigantic proportions.
did you find out why that happened?
Well, one thing is certain. The answer lies deep beneath the Orc town.
The Orc town?
Orcs are not animals, as many people think. Their culture is as old as the human culture. A few centuries ago, 5 Orc shaman invoked a very old archdemon, which they hoped would give their clan the power to defeat their enemies.
This archdemon, was it the sleeper?
The Orcs gave him that name much later. But I won't tell you why they did it, or why they are now terrified by this supernatural creature.
Why not?
I believe you could be... No. To be really sure, you'll have to perform another task.
Which task?
Listen carefully. The Orcs have exiled one of their shaman from the town.
Why have they exiled him?
The dying Orc warrior was no longer able to answer that question when he was interrogated by one of my demons.
What does this Orc shaman have to do with my task?
He'll tell you the rest of the story about the sleeper.
An Orc shaman is hardly likely to be keen on talking to me.
Do you want me to help you or do you not?
Well, yes, but
Then never question my words again. Find the shaman. He's not on good terms with his brothers in the Orc town, so he may listen to you before turning you into a living torch.
very comforting. Where is this exiled shaman?
Go to the old citadel in the east. You can't miss it. It's on top of a high mountain, which can be seen from a distance.
Can you just enter it?
They call it the old citadel, but there's hardly anything left of it other than the foundation walls. It's been a ruin for many decades.
I will get the answers from this shaman.
My servant has already given you a teleportation rune for the pentagram 1 floor below. That will make it easier for you to get back here later. Have you spoken to Xardas?
No,
Why not?
I couldn't get into that area yet.
You need to find him and ask him for advice.